Good morning, Sunset Country, and welcome back for the second season of the show. I'm your host, Deborah Cruikshank, and sitting next to me on the couch is one of our producers, Shelley Bujold.
Hi, how are you today? I'm filling in for Dave Kane, and he'll be back here on the couch next week.
You're much prettier than Dave is.
I'd like to think so. Dave's kind of pretty, though.
He's kind of pretty.
He's kind of cute.
He's got a pretty side to him.
He does.
He does. I'm just kidding, Dave. So, Shell, an entire summer season has slipped away from us once again. How did you enjoy your summer?
Oh, I loved summer. It was such a great, it was a great time. It was warm and just enjoyed it. I trained all summer for a race that I did last weekend, which was pretty exciting. It was called the Ragnar Relay Race. It was in Wisconsin. I got my medal here. I'll show it over here. And here's our team. It was the Can-Am Warriors. It was a group of 8 people. We came together pretty much as strangers, Americans and Canadians. We met online and we decided to form this team together. And it was almost like we knew each other forever. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
So what did we run? We ran 27 hours and about 200 kilometers together as a team. I ran about 28 kilometers.
That's insane. I can't believe that you can just so casually say that you ran 28 kilometers. I did not spend my summer training. I spent my summer being a Northwestern Ontario beach bum.
Which is lovely. You got to relax.
Definitely one of the highlights in Northwestern Ontario is our beaches and spending summer like that. So I had a beautiful summer with my boys, so I was very thankful to have some time off.
And they caught fish for the first time, right?
It's true. We got fishing rods. My cousin gave the boys fishing rods, so that was a definite highlight to our summer.
That's wonderful.
We have a LakeSmart story on the show today, all about being environmentally and protecting those pristine lakes.
And a special guest, we have Nate Leipciger, who is here to tell us his story about the Holocaust.
A Holocaust survivor, so a very special guest today. Very fortunate that he had time in his busy schedule to come and share some of his story with us.
Indeed, it's very powerful. But first up, we are going to the LakeSmart story with the Lake of the Woods District Property Owners Association. The shoreline of our lakes is where life happens. Fish, birds, animals, insects, and of course plants all use it as an essential part of survival. This is why the Lake of the Woods Property Owners Association created LakeSmart, a program to help educate cottagers to create healthy shorelines and properties that encourage wildlife habitat. Lucas King is a summer student passionate about area lakes. He's been working to spread the word about how to change your cottage property for the better. His main priority is to stop by lake properties to chat with owners or to drop off information.
I grew up coming to the lake, and so for as long as I can remember, it's always been a huge part of my life. And then through studying environmental science in Calgary and Alberta, I found out just one of the biggest ways we can make an impact is raise awareness to everyone around us. And it kind of just, how people talk and word of mouth goes along. And so if I talk to 10 cottagers that day, I might actually end up impacting 50 people on the way they think about how they live their life at the lake.
Some key points King makes for shoreline health include having a low-impact dock, letting natural debris like rocks pile up, look for invasive plants, and don't mow your lawn. Yep, you heard that right. Don't mow your lawn.
Well, yeah, and you keep your property very natural too, so it kind of limits.
Well, I'd like you to mention that to my wife, because if she had her way, she'd asphalt everything.
Yeah. No, it's really nice that you have all the trees and stuff like that, and keep the shrubbery. It just creates a really nice buffer zone.
For cottager Hartley Clapman, less yard work means more play.
Well, we just like it to be natural because, of course, there's lots of concrete in the city. We don't need more concrete here at the lake, so we keep it as natural as possible. Well, we're very conscious of, not throwing things in the lake, and a lot of people just think if you just throw a cigarette butt in the lake, it'll just disappear, and it's not the case. So we're very careful just not to dispose of things in the lake, because it's the most beautiful place on the planet.
A natural yard all the way around helps filter any water runoff from your building before it gets to the water's edge. Using a natural cleaning product that is phosphate-free is also key to clean, algae-free lakes.
And the big one is just watch what you use upstairs. And again, the runoff patterns are huge. Plants are a great natural filter. And the more we use what nature has provided for us out here in the first place, the better off we're going to be.
During the fall, when you're thinking about closing up your cottage or house on the water, it's important to keep a few things in mind, environmentally speaking. Clean up the yard so that no debris gets into the water or on the ice. Bring in and put away all floating docks. Make sure that you don't have any animal attractants in your yard. Ensure your wastewater system is fully winterized. And it's a good time of year to ensure the health of your septic system to avoid not only environmental spills, but unwanted cleanup.
We want this to be here and enjoyed by the next 4 generations. And our young ambassadors know the lake, they know their stuff, they have lots of information they can share with people.
You can get information packages on keeping your lake property safe through the Lake of the Woods Property Owners Association. Next summer, you can book an appointment with the LakeSmart team to go over your property and make helpful suggestions to green things up all around the Lake of the Woods area. In Kenora, I'm Shelley Bujold. For more information on the Lake of the Woods Property Owners Association, go online. They have many tips and you can get some good info there. Up next, Deb will be on the couch with Nate Leipciger, who will be talking about his story surviving the Holocaust and the Auschwitz death camps. That's coming up, so stay with us.
Welcome back to Good Morning Sunset Country, and sitting next to me in the studio is Nate Leipciger, and he is a Holocaust survivor. So first and foremost, Nate, welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and sitting with us today.
I'm very happy to be here. It's a wonderful community.
Thank you.
And very beautiful grounds, and I love it.
Good. It is beautiful here.
It reminds me of Muskoka.
It does, yes. So you've obviously been to Muskoka.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, today you, of course, have stopped to talk to us about your experience with the Holocaust.
Yes.
And can you take us back to 1939 when you were 11 years old and your entire life changed?
Yes, overnight. As a matter of fact, I was sent from my hometown, which was in Silesia, which was right next to the German border. I was sent to a town called Lodz, which is further north in Poland and a little bit more to the east. So my father felt that that would be a safer place to be. It turned out to be the other way around because they never fired a shot at Silesia, but they bombed Lodz, which is Litzmannstadt. And so I was there when the Nazis marched in, and that was my first exposure. And I tell you, as a 11-year-old boy, I was fascinated by the armored division that marched through the streets and the precision marching compared to the horse-driven artillery of the Polish forces. And, it was overwhelming for an 11-year-old boy. But my enthusiasm was quashed very quickly by the fact that I had to line up for bread.
Yes.
And soldiers would come by with little Polish kids, who pointed out who the Jews were, because the Nazis didn't know, couldn't distinguish between a Jew and a Pole. We looked the same. Mm-hmm. But a Polish kid could, so he would point out, do that.
Out of sheer terror, I'm sure.
And I was taken out of the line, had to go back to so the family did not have any bread that day. So that was one thing. And then, of course, there was the beginning of the propaganda war against the Jews in Poland. So they would go into our courtyard and bring out men who were in their prayer shawls, and some of them had the tefillin, which was the on the forehead and on the arm, little boxes that contained prayers, and they would bring them out on the yard and make them dance, and you know, we were standing there and crying because we understood how degrading this experience was for the man.
Well, and as a young child, did you have any idea sort of the extent that measures were being taken, or were you somewhat sheltered? Like, you were separated from your parents at this point too, right?
Yeah, I was separated from my father. My mother was with me, but I was housed in a separate house, in a separate home, because we moved, 4 of us, my grandfather, my mother, and my sister moved to Lodge, and we were put up by the family, so we were split into 4 different homes. But I was with my cousin, and I mean, the horrendous thing is when I found out that my cousin's brother, who was running away from the Germans,
Yes.
was killed on the road on his motorcycle. So that was a very traumatic experience. And in the moment of my generosity and my feel for him, I gave him my most treasured thing that I had was my stamp album. And I gave it to him.
Wow.
He admired it much before I gave it to him. And, you know, like about 10 minutes after, I regretted it.
Oh, did you? Because it was your most treasured item.
And I complained to my mother about it. I said, well, you can't take it back.
Yeah.
You did a wonderful thing,
Absolutely.
and you got to live with it.
Well, and this is a life lesson for all children, right?
Right.
To give and to receive. You also later will have lost your mother and sister, and we're going to talk about that a little bit when we come back. Stick around. We are with Nate Leipciger, who is a Holocaust survivor, and he's here with us today to share his story. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. We are here with Nate Leipciger, who is a Holocaust survivor, and he's here sharing his story with us. So, of course, when Nate was 11, that's when his entire life changed. And let's continue. You were separated from your family as a survival means and sent further into Poland to get away from what your...
from the oncoming Nazis. But then we went back to our hometown, and then after that we were expelled by the Nazis from our hometown into Sosnowiec, where we eventually entered into a ghetto. And then in 1943, the ghetto was liquidated, and we were together with my parents, my sister. We were sent to Auschwitz-Birkenau. There we were separated from my mother, and we never had an opportunity to say goodbye. And I saw them that they were going to go into the concentration camps, and I eventually ended up in the concentration camp as well. So when we left Auschwitz 3 months later, I thought that my mother and my sister may have an opportunity to survive. Of course, liberation came April 1942, and the big question was who survived. We knew that our family was decimated, and we had hoped that we would be able to reunite it with our family. But I became sick with typhus fever. I almost died after the war.
Wow.
And I was nursed to health by a Catholic nurse, a Catholic nun, who gave me some little pills to overcome my typhus fever, and I survived. And then after we survived, I moved to Poland by myself. I left my father in Germany, and I went to Poland to find out. And I knew when I went to the neighbor, who my mother said while we were sitting in the railroad car, go to that neighbor and leave word as to who survived. So I knew that as soon as I went through that gate, I would find the truth. And I did, and I met my grandmother's neighbor, and I could tell immediately from her appearance that she had bad news for me. So she hugged me and we cried, and then she told me that my mother's sisters survived. They were hidden by Christian individuals. My mother and my sister did not come back. And that was, I still didn't believe it. I still felt maybe they were sick, maybe they couldn't get there in time. That's why for years I still believed that they would not, that they have survived.
Yeah, I can't imagine to what level you had to have numbed yourself to live through all of those different experiences and being
That's
separated.
a very insightful comment, that I had to numb myself. Right?
Yeah. So where did your healing begin? You immigrated to Canada.
Yes,
you
it
choose
was very
Canada?
slow, and we immigrated to Canada, and we met my father's only surviving siblings out of 8. He was the only one that survived, and because he was in Canada. And when we came here, we wanted to tell our story, but nobody wanted to listen. And then
Right.
eventually we decided not to talk about it and go on with our lives. It was very important for me to get an education.
Yes.
That was a key. I felt that I still didn't believe. I still had my mental bags packed. I didn't believe that the
Yeah.
world really changed, and was
Has
very
that
apprehensive.
thought changed for you now?
Yes, the world has changed for me now because now I have 9 grandchildren,
Oh, beautiful.
and they have a future. 2 of them are married, and we expect that they will soon embark on a family, and that's hope for the future. And I was always an optimist, and this has fed my optimism to the point where I feel very blessed that I have a wonderful family of 3 beautiful daughters, and 3 wonderful son-in-laws, and 9 wonderful grandchildren, beyond description. And now I have 11 because 2 of them are married.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, I just think you're an incredible individual to find, strength in love and strength in your journey of healing and telling your story. I think you're a very brave individual for that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us today, Nate. I know your story is quite a bit longer than what we've been able to touch on today. And if you're interested, you can read more and listen to more about Nate on the website and the Holocaust memoirs that are there. There's lots of individuals that are finally being able to have a platform to tell their story.
Yes, my book is called The Weight of Freedom.
The Weight
and
of Freedom.
it's online or in Indigo.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank
It's
you.
our pleasure having
Thank
you.
My pleasure.
When we come back, Shelley will be joining us on the couch once again. Wow, Shelley, our first show, second season's coming to an end.
Yeah, can you believe it? It's gone by so fast
It
already.
has gone by so fast. Fast when you're having fun, and what an amazing guest.
Oh, what a powerful speaker. Nate was very interesting. And speaking of Nate, he's got a book for us.
He's also an author, and there's a little bit of a short film on the website too that you will have access to if you so want to hear more of his story. He has written the book, The Weight of Freedom. And this book is available through the Azrieli Foundation to all schools for free.
All schools for free? That's amazing.
So they get to hear the story of the Holocaust. And of course, sharing stories like this is so important to know where we've come from and how important it is to be good humanitarians moving forward.
Absolutely.
And make sure that no one gets treated the way that this race of people has, for sure.
Oh, can you believe it? I mean, the Jews have gone through so much, and it's incredibly important that we don't forget.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this, I mean, to be able to have this type of literature offered for free is pretty amazing.
Well, Nate has also offered us here at the show a copy of his book. So if you want to be put in a draw for a copy of The Weight of Freedom, you can comment on our Facebook page. We'll put a link up there to all of the avenues to get a hold of Nate and his story, and you'll be entered into a draw.
Yeah, and
So
we'll
thank
give
you,
that
Nate.
away in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that.
We have some regional events coming up too. It's exciting to talk about
Yay.
events. Summer seems to be filled with them, but we have the 12th annual Toys for Tots run happening in Dryden. So this is from the Harley Owners Group, and it is on Saturday, October 1st, 1 o'clock. The run starts at Sioux Lookout Tourist Information Center.
So it's a Dryden group, but it starts in Sioux Lookout. Oh, and it runs down to Dryden.
To Dryden, yes.
Wonderful, cool.
And they're asking you to bring an unwrapped gift, so $10 minimum, for children ages 0 to 18 years. So of course they'll be collecting toys for tots
That's
on this
awesome.
run. Yeah, we have another event that's exciting happening in Kenora, and this is put on by the Lake of the Woods Brewing Company, and they are doing Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest!
Yeah, there's
That's
going to
fun.
be lots of things going on. So outside of beer and beer gardens, there's also Kinderfest, so children's activities including a clown, chalkboard activities, and Al Simmons as a performer.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so there's going to be entertainment for everybody, and
He's
this is
neat.
happening right downtown in front of the brewery. So October 1st,
What time is that again?
11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Ooh, 12 hours of fun.
You do have to get tickets. So you can go to lowbruco.com to get your tickets for that event.
Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun to do that. You could have a beer. And, kids can't have beer, but they can watch Al Simmons.
They can, and they can, be entertained by clowns.
That would be great. You know what is happening down in Fort Francis next week is the Seniors Fair. It's hosted by the Older Adult Centers Association of Ontario. That's Tuesday, so Tuesday, October 4th, from 10 till 2 p.m., and it's at the Sister Kennedy Center. There's booths and speakers, coffee, muffins, and lunch. Who doesn't want lunch? I mean,
Who doesn't like
that's pretty
muffins?
cool. Muffins, I know. Why don't we have muffins here? We should.
Hey, you're the producer. You can make that happen.
Yeah, that's true. I could make that happen. We need muffins here,
More
stat.
muffins.
But if you want some information on this to attend, if you're in Fort Francis, call 807-274-7656 to register.
Awesome.
It's very exciting. And this is very cool, since I love running. This is pretty cool. The Aboriginal Health Access Center is holding Trailblazer 3, which is a 6K run on Tunnel Island next Wednesday at 11 a.m. So that's October 5th at 11 a.m. And you can register by calling them at 467, that's 807-467-8770. And they're saying that beginners are more than welcome to attend. So
Awesome.
It's a run, but you can walk and run and just enjoy nature on Tunnel Island, and who
Absolutely.
doesn't like that?
Absolutely. Well, if you also enjoy nature, we would like to see some photos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Send us some of the things you got up to this summer. Send us some of your nature shots. It's bear season.
It is very and fall. The fall colors are coming out right now, and it's beautiful.
Absolutely. So we want to hear from you. Check out our Facebook page at Good Morning Sunset Country. You can always email them to us as well if you're not a Facebooker.
Absolutely.
But we want to hear from you.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you.
Thanks for joining me, Shelley. That was awesome having you on the show. I do look forward to having Dave back.
Oh, yeah, that's
Thanks
funny.
for coming.
Thank you for letting me, I'll handshake you. Thank you for letting me be on the show
Have
today.
a good morning, everyone.
Good morning.